All right, we're here tonight with newly appointed Assumption head wrestling coach Sonny Alvarez. Sonny, thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hey, first of all, congratulations. It's exciting, man.
It's really exciting.
Yeah. Can you tell us about how you were introduced to the sport of wrestling?
I was introduced when I was probably kindergarten, first grade. My dad got me into it, and we traveled all over, so it was pretty fun. I got to hang out with my dad and had some good coaches, and we had a good time.
Who did you look up to as a young wrestler, and how did they influence your style of wrestling?
I was lucky. I got exposed to a lot of wrestling coming up, especially as a young kid. My dad took me everywhere. We went to all the different clubs in the area, so I got a lot of exposure to a lot of different coaches. I know Coach Barnhill. He was at West, and he was an All-American at Iowa. I think he was my very first coach. So, and then just coming up, I was always fortunate enough to get put into the right places with the right people.
Sure. So, Sonny, you wrestled at Assumption during what we would call maybe the first dynasty of Assumption wrestling under Coach Wade King. What was it like being on that stacked team? I know you guys were ranked number 1 in the country at one time. What was that like?
I tell you what, it was that was kind of, I'd say the beginning of that started, I would say 90, going back 94, 95, 96, I think they won it, and then we came in, and it was fun. I mean, there was a precedent set ahead of time when we were coming in the group that I was coming in with, and everybody pushed everybody. I mean, it was definitely a special time, fun team.
Sure. I remember, so I was a freshman your senior year, and I remember not even really knowing anything about wrestling, but one practice, Coach King yelling at you, and I remember he made you explain to the team why you were getting yelled at, and I remember your words were, because I didn't try to turn a decision into a major. So
yeah.
That kind of mentality, I think, was ingrained in the program.
Definitely. You're always looking to get bonus points, and that's what makes those good teams great teams, was being reminded when you should push, and on the same, you've seen that aspect of it, but you're always reminded when you got to push. But then there's always a time for, hey, you might want to think about your health here, or whatever the situation is. And so, yeah, it was a good balance. It was definitely a good balance, but he wasn't afraid to step on the gas pedal.
Yeah.
So, Coach, you end your great high school career, and then you move on to Wartburg, where you wrestled for Coach Jim Miller, one of our, what I'd say, a living legend at this point in time. How was that transition for you, and what was it like wrestling under him?
Again, you step into a program like that's already established. You're under a staff like that can develop kids. And I remember freshman year going in there. It's rough. There you take a lot of lumps, but you grow as a wrestler. You grow as a person. And they did a nice job of bringing those guys in and developing them. So, yeah.
So, Coach, what are you thinking? What are you going to be bringing from your wrestling experience and your past into the Assumption room now?
Definitely hard work, consistency every day, and just being a champion, not just on the mat but off the mat. One of the big things that I'm proud of too is the coaching staff that we put together. I brought this up to them. The education level that our staff has, and the emphasis they put on schoolwork and books. I'll put them up against anybody in the state as far as that, and I think that's important. So definitely the school aspect of it, being good people, but then just hard-nosed competitors on the mat, and like you said, the example that you brought up, always fighting for more, always pushing. So,
Coach, earlier we spoke about girls wrestling in Iowa and how it continues to grow. What are your plans on continuing the trend and keeping Assumption wrestling on top?
Assumption, has been a leader in developing female wrestling, and we're going to continue to make that important and build on what's already been established. So we have some people in place that are knowledgeable in that area and know what it's going to take to make the next step and continue to grow women's wrestling.
Good. So we're kind of at the beginning of the off season still a little bit for Iowa high school wrestling anyway. Wanted to ask how much like freestyle and Greco did you do in your wrestling career, and then what are you urging your wrestlers to do during this off season?
So I wrestled freestyle. I didn't get into freestyle until I was probably right before high school and in high school. We're gonna hit some freestyle. We're gonna try to develop all summer long. I have staff that they wrestle Fargo. They're big freestylers. So we're gonna just continue to get better at wrestling and see how good we can technically get throughout the summer. Summer is when you make your gains, and that's when you become good at wrestling and understand wrestling. I think wintertime you get focused on a lot of other stuff that takes away from just the ability to become a better wrestler.
Sure.
So we're going to focus on just becoming a better wrestler through the summer, and then that's this phase, and then when the next phase happens and comes up, we'll tackle that one.
Sure. I've heard Jay Zymet here talk about this is get ahead season, right? This is where a lot of wrestlers are going to choose to do other things. That's okay. But when winter rolls around, you'll be able to tell who put in the time.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's kind of, I'm a fan of multi-sport athletes, and I think it helps, and especially a sport like wrestling. It helps every other sport that's out there. But we're definitely, I'm wrestling focused and wanting to get these kids in the room all summer long.
Sure. Yeah, a lot of kids are probably out for track and baseball and stuff like that, but at least my thought, what I've been telling my kids at home anyway, is like at least once a week, get on the mat, right? I mean, any time on the mat's better than nothing, I believe so.
Definitely. And then, you got the other component where, you got to get in the weight room too.
Yeah.
So you can't just be one-dimensional.
Yep.
All right, so not only getting a chance to interview you, Coach, we also have an opportunity tonight to meet your team, right?
Yep.
So, the one piece that Rob and I have always talked about is the coach is like the hub on that, and then each one of your different coaches serve as a spoke or an extension onto your wrestling. So, I didn't know if you'd be able to tell us who you have on your team selection and a little bit about each one of them.
Yeah, so I'm super excited. When I took the position, there's definitely some challenges, with my schedule and how everything's set up. And I have somebody that I really trusted, and the only way that I would take this position is if I knew that he was going to be a head coach with me. I'm a head coach on paper, but it's Ben Jobjan. Ben, you can come out if you want. Come on over. I'm excited. I couldn't have done this, and I wouldn't have done this without Ben. So I'm lucky. I'm extremely lucky. So we talked earlier about the early dynasty that we had. He was the one that started off that. It was his age group, his class, that kind of set the precedent at Assumption. So I was following his footsteps, and then he went to Wartburg, and he was probably the biggest factor in me continuing my career at Wartburg. So he blazed a trail, and I just kind of followed.
Sure. Ben, welcome.
Well, hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
So it's been great. Appreciate what you guys are doing for the sport of wrestling. Definitely here in the Quad Cities. So
Thank you. It's been fun, and we appreciate the support. We like when people follow along. So
that's
we
great.
Appreciate it.
Hey, keep it up.
So Sonny gave you a good intro.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add? Anything about maybe your experience in the sport?
No, I'm excited. As Sonny said, there's some challenges. I mean, he's got a little challenge with his schedule. I had mine. We've known each other for a long time. Back to those days, like he talked about, back in the early '90s. Coming through the Assumption room, and when he approached me about it, I was like, no way, nope. And Sonny's pretty persistent. If you know him, he's going to keep on you, which I think is going to be great for our kids. He talks about consistency, and the consistency they're going to get from him is someone that's there, steady, tried and true, and keep going. And so he stayed on me, and this is something I thought I'd never do. I've been helping with the Rising Knights Wrestling Club, and I thought, kids wrestling was my lane and where I belonged, and didn't need to be in the high school lane. But I'm glad Sonny kept working on me. There's nobody else that I would get involved with this with other than him. And so after thinking about it for a hot minute, and I'm glad I committed to it. we're going to bring a lot. You know, I've been involved in the sport of wrestling for a long time. My dad was a high school coach in town. He talked about Coach Barnhill. My dad was assistant for Barney for many years, and then went on to Davenport North when it opened, and was a head coach there, and then you know, helped out at Assumption when I was there, and stayed on, and so I was kind of born into it. Something I've always enjoyed, and I look forward to being involved in a little different aspect going forward.
That's exciting, man. I'm excited to watch you guys develop the team and
Thanks.
keep things going.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. Appreciate it, Ben. And so, Sonny, there's another guy here with us tonight. You want to introduce?
Yep. Coach Bass. So he was on staff last year. He can come out here. He don't want to, but he's gonna. So, Coach Bass. Ben knows Coach Bass better than I do. I know him. He's doing a great job already. He's set up some stuff for the summer. So you talked about summer wrestling. He's leading the charge and setting up our camp schedule for the team camp that we're going to take our athletes to. So, yeah, you want to talk about that? You want to talk about yourself?
Not really, but Marcus Bass. I've been around wrestling all my life. I wrestled through high school, but as far as it went, decided to play football instead in college. Got 2 kids, well, one at Assumption now and one coming up. So, like I said, I'm pretty big at summer wrestling. So, past 6 years, I've been taking teams to ISI. So, thought maybe we'll get something together this summer as well.
That's awesome. I know anybody who's been around the Iowa youth scene for the last, God, it seems like a decade now, knows the name Bass, right? Justin and Eric. So, yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. I mean, I know you were part of the staff last year as well,
Yep.
but we talked a lot off the camera, so it's nice to meet you here and get you on once. But
Thank you.
appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
All right, Sonny, we met your staff. There's another very important part of your team, right?
Oh yeah. Yep.
So we want to talk about someone special.
Yeah, so my wife, Amy can come out here. One, as you know, I got lucky when I wanted to take on this position that I had the support at home because, you know, there's a lot of hours to go on and there's going to be some challenges. Plus, one of my strong suits is not logistics and keeping organized everything that's going on. So Amy has graciously volunteered, and she was excited. She's going to be taking care of all the logistics of the hotel rooms and everything that I forget and I drop.
Sure.
There's going to be a lot of that.
Yep.
Definitely she's going to take care of that and make sure that the team's taken care of and we're moving in the right direction with all that stuff so that I can focus on coaching.
Sure.
So I got lucky.
Yeah. Well, I know that, and I've heard a coach's wife is. I don't want to say lonely, but like there's a lot there's a lot of responsibility there, right? Yeah. So like, what are your thoughts with him taking the head job?
Yep, I'm really excited. I wasn't around wrestling before I met Sonny, so I've learned a lot in the last 15 years. I'm really excited watching the boys really love the sport and how much Sonny really just appreciates developing kids and how well they respond to him is really fun. So I'm excited to see what happens, so to get things going.
Yeah. Well, great. That's awesome. It's good to have, obviously you need good support at home, so that's important. I will throw out there too, because my wife will probably watch this. Most of the good ideas, if you ever watch something that QC Wrestle does and you're like, oh, that was a good idea, it was probably my wife or Jay's wife. We almost never have any, so we want to give our wife some credit here as well.
Definitely, especially with our 3, as active as our 3 little ones are, you know, she takes care of the behind the scenes stuff so that I can coach.
Yep,
So
yep.
it's good. It's a good fit. So
Awesome.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. Thanks, guys. Good luck.
Right.
So you guys mentioned a little bit about the summer plans. There's a camp. You guys have a camp scheduled now? Is that right?
Yeah, we're really excited about that camp. So I'm big on the Assumption family. You know, we came up through it. It's been good to me. The previous wrestlers before I was there were great to me. The wrestlers after us did a great job, and we wanted to highlight that. So yeah, we got a camp this year. It's going to be the June 16th, 17th, and 18th, and it's all Assumption alum. So We got Landon Williams is coming back. He's assistant coach at Wartburg. Josh Watts, head coach out west in Iowa. John Garvin is going to be coming back. Pete and Danny Bush. Who else we got coming?
Topher Carton.
Yep, Topher Carton.
And Julian Broderson.
Yep.
I'm trying to do the math here. I think I counted at least 13 state titles.
And Brody Grothus. Yep.
There's another one.
Yep. So yeah, there's a lot of talent that's in that homegrown Assumption camp, and what better way than to highlight them and show the young athletes, what it's about. So they're all doing well and successful and great role models. So
that's great. Yeah, that's going to be a great camp.
Yeah.
Go back to it real quick. So you've got more people on the staff that couldn't make it tonight. Who else is joining you?
So I asked Greg Lala. He wrestled at Co. Real great guy. He's gonna be good for the kids. Knowledgeable in the sport, and probably the greatest thing is he's gonna bring the calmness to the room. That you got to have that balance in the room, Yep. So I think I'll probably have the other side of it handled, and I got a great staff that's going to be able to really balance out that room and bring these kids along. DeVries was on staff last year. The kids love that guy. He's coming back. He does a nice job with the young athletes. We got some more.
Tristan DeShazer, who's been in the program for I think about 8 years now. We were excited that he decided to stay on. Andre Avila, who's been helping out as well. We have Greg Miller on staff, Marcus. So, that kind of rounds it out. We've had excitement from others that have been involved in the program in the past that, want to come and help out. So, we'll take it. We'll use it. And hopefully our athletes are responsive to it. And hopefully they see that level of excitement, and in turn, have that drive that says, hey, I not only want to be proud for myself, I want to, kind of fight for myself, but I see these people coming out. I'm gonna give that a little extra effort for them. So, Big things coming.
It's exciting, guys. Congratulations!
It's really exciting.
We're excited to watch. Any kind of closing comments at all from anybody?
No, we're just excited and ready to get to work. I think that goes for the whole staff. We came in this last week and we're hitting the ground running. We already got some big things I think in line, and now it's just work. It's time to get to work and develop some kids and see what happens.
Yep. Well, hey, we look forward. We'll definitely be in touch with you guys between now and then, but excited for November to roll around. We'll get to see the Knights back in action.
I appreciate it. Thanks for coming out.
All right. Thank you for tuning in. Please share this podcast with your friends. Give us a like and a follow on Facebook and Twitter at QCA Wrestle. And keep an eye out for more QCA wrestling content coming soon.